Second Case 1, Waterworld, Denver, Gregory Smith, 1997. On June 13, 1997, at Waterworld in Denver, Colorado, 15-year-old Gregory Smith was celebrating a friend's birthday with a group of classmates. It was the final day of school before summer break. Smith was an honor roll student, a basketball player, a kid who had just finished his freshman year and had his whole life ahead of him. He decided to end the day in the park's wave pool. The wave pool generated 3-foot swells every 10 minutes, cycling water through massive underwater intake pipes to create artificial surf. At the deep end, these intake grates were covered by metal mesh panels designed to prevent exactly what was about to happen. Smith and his friends were playing near the 12-foot deep section when the waves began their cycle. As water rushed toward the drains, Smith was pulled under and pinned to an intake grate by over 400 pounds of suction pressure. His friends noticed he was missing within 30 seconds. Park lifeguards initiated a search but could not locate him. What they did not know was that Smith's body was being held 8 feet below the surface against a 16-inch intake pipe. The grate that should have protected him had been removed for maintenance and never replaced. Smith remained pinned underwater for 12 minutes before anyone realized what had happened. 4 adult men, including 2 firefighters in full scuba gear, attempted to pull him free. The suction was so intense that they could not break the seal. They had to shut down the entire pump system to release his body. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Cause of death, drowning by entrapment. The investigation revealed that park maintenance staff had removed the intake grate cover 2 days earlier and simply forgot to reinstall it. No inspection checklist existed. No secondary check was required before opening the pool to guests. The park's parent company settled with the Smith family for an undisclosed sum, and Colorado passed Senate Bill 98-046, requiring daily inspection logs for all public pool intake systems and mandatory secondary backup covers on every suction point. Case 2, Six Flags Hurricane Harbor, Arlington, Ashley Ouellette, 2005. July 24, 2005, Six Flags Hurricane Harbor in Arlington, Texas. 10-year-old Ashley Ouellette was visiting the water park with her church youth group, a summer trip meant to be a reward for good behavior. She was an honor roll student from Garland, Texas, described by her mother as the best little girl you could ask for. Ashley climbed the steps of the Mega Wedgie, a 60-foot enclosed body slide that drops riders into a splash pool at speeds reaching 35 miles per hour. The slide operated on a timing system. A traffic light at the top indicated when it was safe for the next rider to go. The minimum interval was supposed to be 20 seconds between riders to allow the previous person to clear the splash zone. Ashley got the green light. She pushed off. What she did not know was that the rider before her had not yet exited. An 8-year-old girl had panicked at the bottom and was still in the splash pool. Ashley shot out of the tube at 35 miles per hour and collided with the younger child, striking her with the full force of her body weight accelerated by a near-vertical drop. The impact caused severe internal injuries. Ashley went limp in the water. Lifeguards pulled her out within 45 seconds. She had no pulse. CPR was administered for 20 minutes before paramedics arrived. She was airlifted to Cook Children's Medical Center in Fort Worth, where doctors placed her on life support. She was declared brain dead 48 hours later and died when her family made the decision to remove her from the machines. The investigation found that the traffic light system had no way of detecting whether a rider had actually cleared the splash zone. It was a simple timer. No cameras monitored the exit pool. No lifeguard was stationed at the bottom with a manual override switch. The Texas Department of Insurance, which regulates amusement rides in the state, issued a citation for inadequate supervision at the splash pool exit. Six Flags subsequently installed CCTV monitoring systems at all slide splash pools and added a third lifeguard station at the bottom of every body slide in the park. Case 3. Schlitterbahn, Kansas City. Caleb Schwab, 2016. August 7, 2016. Schlitterbahn Water Park in Kansas City, Kansas. The Verrückt water slide stood at 168 feet, 7 inches tall, certified by Guinness World Records as the tallest water slide on Earth. The name Verrückt meant insane in German. Riders climbed 264 steps to reach the top. They boarded a 3-person raft and dropped down a 17-story, near-vertical plunge at speeds reaching 70 miles per hour, then shot up a second hill before descending into a runoff pool. Caleb Schwab was 10 years old. He was the son of Kansas State Representative Scott Schwab. His family was spending a routine summer day at the park. Caleb was paired with 2 adult women in the front of the raft, a weight distribution choice that would prove fatal. The total weight of the raft exceeded 550 pounds, over the recommended limit but not flagged by any staff member. The raft launched. It descended the first drop at 70 miles per hour. When it hit the second hill, the front of the raft caught the metal edge of a hoop structure designed to contain the inflatable. The front lifted. The raft became airborne. Caleb, seated in the front right position, was thrown upward into the metal hoop. His neck struck a steel support beam at 50 miles per hour. He was decapitated instantly. The 2 women in the raft with him suffered facial fractures and required hospitalization. The park's internal safety procedures collapsed under scrutiny. Schlitterbahn engineers had designed Verrückt without consulting any outside safety experts. They used sandbags to test the ride, never crashed test dummies. The netting and hoops over the slide were improvised after multiple test rafts had flown off during development. A former operations manager testified that employees were told to falsify weight records for years. The ride had operated for 182 days. It had injured 13 people before Caleb's death, including 2 concussions and 1 separated shoulder. The Kansas legislature responded by passing stricter amusement ride inspection laws. Schlitterbahn, Kansas City permanently closed in 2018. 4 Schlitterbahn executives, including the park's designer, faced criminal charges, though the murder indictment against the lead designer was later dismissed on procedural grounds. The Schwab family received a settlement of nearly $20 million. The Verrückt was demolished the following year. Case 4, Disneyland, Anaheim, Branton Bozeman, 1999, May 29, 1999. Disneyland, Anaheim, California. It's a Small World is a gentle boat ride through animated doll dioramas, designed for young children, operating since 1966. The water in the flume is only 18 inches deep. The boats travel at 1.5 miles per hour. It is statistically one of the safest rides ever built. But on this day, the ride's innocuous design became the mechanism of death. Branton Bozeman was 23 years old. He had intellectual disabilities, functioning at the cognitive level of a young child. He was visiting the park with his care group from a residential facility. Bozeman was 6 feet 3 inches tall and weighed over 300 pounds. He boarded the boat alone. Midway through the ride, Bozeman stood up inside the moving boat. He lost his balance near the unload zone and fell into the flume. The boat behind his continued forward on the chain-driven track. Bozeman was caught between the fiberglass hull of the oncoming boat and the guide rail beneath the waterline. The boat weighed approximately 400 pounds empty. With passengers, it exceeded 1,000 pounds. It pinned Bozeman face down in 18 inches of water. The ride did not immediately stop. The chain drive system had no automatic obstruction detection. Other passengers in the boat screamed for help. Ride operators heard the commotion but could not see the exact location of the incident due to blind spots in the ride layout. It took 7 minutes to fully shut down the ride and locate Bozeman. He was pulled from the water, pulseless. Disneyland paramedics initiated CPR. He was pronounced dead at Anaheim Memorial Hospital at 1:15 p.m., cause of death, drowning in compression, asphyxia. Cal/OSHA investigated and issued a $12,500 fine for a safety violation. The ride lacked adequate emergency stop buttons in the loading zone. Disney installed tripwire sensors along the entire flume track that would automatically cut power if any object heavier than 40 pounds entered the water outside a boat. They also added underwater cameras at blind spots and retrained all It's a Small World operators on emergency shutdown procedures that reduced full stop time to under 60 seconds.
August 9th, 1998. Monterey Bay Aquarium, Monterey, California. Unlike the other deaths on this list, this one did not happen at a theme park, but the mechanism, a recirculating water exhibit with an unguarded intake drain, was identical. 5-year-old Zachary Weide was visiting the aquarium with his family. He wandered to the wave pool interactive exhibit, a shallow touch tank designed to simulate ocean tides. The tank was 2 feet deep. At its bottom sat a 12-inch intake grate connected to a pump cycling water at 1,500 gallons per minute. The grate covering the intake was made of lightweight plastic, not bolted down, designed to be lifted by maintenance staff for cleaning. Zachary placed his hand on the grate. The suction pulled his arm into the pipe. When he tried to pull free, the vacuum force increased, pulling his arm deeper until his shoulder locked against the opening. His face was forced below the surface in 24 inches of water. His father discovered him within 90 seconds. He could not free his son's arm. He screamed for help. Aquarium staff attempted to pull Zachary free. They failed. The suction pressure was calculated later at over 300 pounds of force, concentrated on his small limb. A maintenance worker finally cut power to the pump. Zachary had been submerged for approximately 4 minutes. He was airlifted to San Jose Medical Center. He died of anoxic brain injury 3 days later. Cal/OSHA found the exhibit's intake grate failed to meet federal safety standards for suction entrapment prevention. The aquarium had no record of the exhibit ever being inspected by a safety engineer. The Monterey Bay Aquarium settled with the Weide family for $3 million and permanently closed the wave pool exhibit. The incident contributed to the drafting of the Virginia Graham Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act, passed by Congress in 2007, which mandated anti-entrapment drain covers on all public pools and spas in the United States. 5 cases, 5 preventable deaths, each one followed by safety reforms that came too late for the people who needed them. The mechanisms vary: suction pipes, conveyor belts, collisions, loops, and impact walls, but the through line is identical. Inadequate inspections, ignored warnings, missing kill switches, weight limits not enforced, grate covers forgotten, pumps left running, rides that should have never opened in their condition, opened anyway. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for similar ones, and feel free to drop suggestions for the next video in the comments.